We've come a long way since the first alpha. A lot more Vaporwave this time around.
I mean, hey, dude, I swear this venue and Vaporwave go hand in hand. I know Alpha's been doing it for a long time, but Hi-Rez just a month or so ago as well, right? Very Vaporwave-themed regional held here in this very same venue.
The people got good taste.
What
can I say?
mean, dude, the drip is real. And speaking of, we see starting off Smurf Poster versus Quandale Dinglelingleton. Smurf Poster not going with the Kazuya pick maybe we expected, but showing you his pockets are deep. Anything with the FGC, anything you might see on a fight stick over at EVO this weekend, he's going to show you on the sticks here in Smash Bros.
Yes, and with every character under his disposal, he is very competent. But whether or not he'll be able to face off against D-Dog is going to be a whole nother issue, because this is one of those players, again, you could put him as your favorite to win. You wouldn't sound too ridiculous. You could see him in your winner's side top 8. It would make sense, but we're bound to see a really solid fight out of it. Starting small battlefield, there's a lot of opportunity for mayhem when it comes to the damage, because both of these characters love playing off the ledge.
And there's a proximity jab into the Shoryuken. Gonna find the early stock Ryu, a character capable of taking stocks a lot earlier than you'd expect, right? He's always considered that FGC character who can't quite do it in the way that Ken or Terry or Kazuya can, but that's all cap. I was gonna say, that's all cap.
He still gets it done. Listen, the amount of damage he puts out in 1 or 2 interactions, like, yeah, he may not be winning it out as often as Steve does, but...
And Hadoken deals like 20, dude.
Yeah, no, if he throws the Shakunetsu at you, you just got to hold all of that, whether it's, like, massive chip damage to your shield or you're just sitting in shield for several seconds, to say nothing of the damage.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, right, Smurf, we obviously have Smurf Poster here, we have Smirk as well, right? We have a pair of FGC players who aren't, you know, solely locked to that Kazuya, but outside of those two, and Smirk from Colorado, not here from here in Tri-State, there's not a lot of experience. And a player like Quandale Dinglelingleton, right, making those national waves with Steve as he takes that first stock, does not maybe have quite the experience with these Shotos that you would expect. And, I mean, Smurf Poster's taking that to the bank right now.
Like, I would need to be corrected otherwise, but I'm fairly certain the Staten Island area does not have a dedicated player of what characters like Ryu or Ken. I would not be surprised if there's a Kazuya, or at the very least someone with a pocket Kaz.
He lived that? I'm sorry, that true Shoryu?
Yeah, no,
there?
Solid SDI, that'll get you far.
Yeah,
and even at that, just like good DI with Steve. Steve is like obnoxious with how well he can move about.
Yeah,
maybe for more reasons than such, but like the character has very strong movement and solid survivability. But that's not going to help if you're just going to get sucked right out of the minecart.
Yeah, the fact that he knew the spacing to call that out, find the stock there, was impressive. Right after the very creative decision with the focus as well. Fighting through that wall break. Steve's loved to bait you in that scenario, but instead it's just going to be the Smurf Poster show racking on the damage already, and even with Diamond online, trying to keep the resources low, but unfortunately, Steve feels kind of inevitable sometimes.
It's like a lot of resource-oriented characters in Smash. Like, they will get their resource. In the case of Steve, of course, it's the resources necessary for having diamond tools or enough iron to maintain pressure with the minecart and anvil. Like, he's gonna get there. So you have to play with that accordingly. And likewise as Ryu, like, you know he's gonna deal a boatload of damage if he hits you. And as such, you have to play with that in mind, but Tito's gonna have to worry about that in game 2, because Smurf Poster is gonna take game 1.
And I mean, hey, we brought it in, right, talking all about the upsets, and we're still in best of 3 territory, Hangman, so
we got a long ride.
I was gonna say, we potentially are on the cusp of yet another one here. Smurf Poster securing counter pick advantage for the set in this best of 3 territory, which could be huge. Stage size, not just important for the Shotos, but also really stage choice, very important against Steve. Right, every stage, not only do you mine with a different tool and at a different rate, but your resources have different frequencies. Some stages, you even have multiple different frequencies depending on where you are on the stage, like Hollow Bastion. And so going to the right stage as the counter pick can be the difference in a game 3 scenario. We are going to see, speaking of Hollow, I believe that is where D-Dog decided to take us, but yep. And
correct.
We're going to get right into it.
You know, another thing I want to highlight, as we were discussing in game 1, just character familiarity, where D-Dog may not be as familiar on like a very close level with fighting a character like Ryu. SMURFPOSTER does not have the same problem when it comes to familiarity with Steve, as Long Island has quite a lot of them, and our region never went through a period of time where the character was banned. There was, of course, discussion of it, but Steve has just sort of been around, and as such, you got to learn that matchup, especially with a character that's as controversial as this character's tools provide. But as such, when you learn that counterplay, you get comfortable with that counterplay. There's a lot of situations you could find yourself in where you see, oh, I know what this Steve is hunting for. I can go get him.
Yeah, but even when you see what they're hunting for, my friend, sometimes it just doesn't quite work out. Beautiful platform catch there from D-Dog, who's going to find the continued juggle, find a beautiful swap into that corner pressure situation, but then ends up having to just kind of reset too low on iron, and it's going to give SMURFPOSTER an opening. How much can he capitalize?
At the very least, he's got him at kill percent, and a back air will confirm that fact. And even at that, just being able to take away the stage control, forcing Steve to the ledge is a really good position to be on, especially on Hollow Bastion.
Yeah, you just don't give them the tools to mine. You don't give them the tools to trap your landings with platform. But unfortunately, the second they reverse you, right, it feels like it's a checkmate scenario. You don't have the places to jump away with that long center platform, which Steve can use to trap your own landings in turn. And so now it's just, you're trying to fight from behind against Steve with full iron, with a diamond, and I mean, the odds are looking long right now.
Yeah, no, it's looking like a fairly certain game 3, but SMURFPOSTER far from it out yet. And another habit I'm noticing from him that I really like, we're seeing a lot of the backwards air dodges just to get repositioned and not have to respect as much of the Steve pressure that D-Dog's putting out.
And speaking of air dodges, beautiful little air dodge read from him there to continue the pressure situation, able to catch the panic air dodge through there to try and take some stage control, and again, force that coast to coast. Doing a really good job playing to that win condition into the corner, and then the second you try and cross him up, that auto turnaround's got you on lock, and SMURFPOSTER keeping himself in this one.
Yeah, no, he's playing it out well, and all things considered, given how heavy Ryu is, still a very winnable match. Unless D-Dog gets some shenanigans going towards the ledge specifically or off stage, SMURFPOSTER can very realistically bring this back.
And I was going to say, too, only 3 iron here online. No diamond, no special tools. As long as SMURFPOSTER can keep himself in range to contest these resources, which the Shakanetsus, the Hadokens, right, very good tools to apply that pressure, keep those resources low. Honestly, he might even be favored at this point.
It's looking really strong, and honestly, the tool that's getting it done the most is the Shakanetsu. The fact that it's just occupying space on stage so often, causing D-Dog to shield so frequently, causing him to reposition. Like, his resources are weathered in a way that you don't often see, but Diamond's there.
Ooh, and
he doesn't even need it as the forward smash manages to connect, and Ritual going to our first game.
I was going to say, I loved that focus attempt, but unfortunately, this didn't quite find its mark. One of the few situations where you actually do kind of want to get hit by Anvil, and ended up losing the game for it. One of the things I'm surprised we haven't seen more of from Quandale Dinglelingleton has been those full hop, place the single floating block. Because, yeah, your opponent can still dash under it, but it used one resource and completely takes the Shakanetsus offline, completely takes the Hadokens offline because of the height they come out at, Ryu being a little taller, right, those projectiles being fairly large. They do hit that wall, and they do just stop. They don't always entirely break it either because they're multi-hits, and they disappear after that first one connects. So it's kind of interesting that we haven't seen him build more walls, play more defense to actually force the approaches, force the CQC, but it might be because when he tried it a little in game 1, it didn't quite go as well as he'd hoped.
Yeah, and that's part of the layers of knowing the matchup more intricately with SMURFPOSTER. He's very aware of that being like a basic tool for Steves to buy themselves time, build up space. Even just that single floating block is enough for them to be able to back it up, and now you've got the 2 or 3 highs. After that point, it's safe mining. They could safely place down TNT, they could safely position some sort of ceiling above them. They can get their resources in line much safer. But Ryu has the opportunity to just rush under that one high single block.
Absolutely. He doesn't have it as well as maybe the other FGC characters, just in terms of ground speed, in terms of CQC options, but it's certainly, it's a mix-up compared to building the wall where, Ryu down tilts wall, Steve expects that, reads the timing with an option, and either he's right or SMURFPOSTER mixes him and finds something like the focuses we saw in front of wall game 1 to catch that option and find a reversal out of it.
Yep.
For me, it's not just that, okay, Ryu can dash under it, but it's using it as a mix-up to force him to respect at whether he's going to have to stop and hit it, whether he's not. How does he approach the situation? The more options you show Smurf, the more he has to respect. And right now, D-Dog is kind of just taking the same avenues of approach. And you know what Albert Einstein said? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
We'll see how it works for him as Game 3 brings us to Town and City. And immediately to the ledge. Having to mine with Axe could be a bit of a hampering to those early up tilt combos and up air combos, but I have the confidence that D-Dog is going to be able to make use of the tri-plat and bi-plat layouts to just get resources together, and if anything, give himself a position to mine off of the anvil where you have far more control over your resources.
Yeah, and as well, right, the blast zones for D-Dog, not terrible. Well, you're going to die, kill your opponent very, very early off those small side blast zones, live longer off the top, right, get a little extra % out of those Shoryu confirms that have done so much work for Smurf Poster so far. But as you get that faster mining speed, but faster mining speed means you don't have as strong walls to build, right? You don't get that stone at all, and it's going to be easier for Ryu to get in on you. The question is, how do you play that mid-range game? How do you scrap with your minecarts and keep your resources high?
Oh, that's
the answer
how you
is
scrap with
on your next
minecart.
stock.
Oh, yes.
Oy vey.
Back air connecting, it's the spacing too. Everyone's so afraid of minecart. Why are you so afraid of such a slow reversal option? It's not even a real reversal option.
Man.
Hit him in the head.
Man, I do minecart because it is good.
That's fair. That's valid. If someone they lose a stock in 70% because minecart is just there, that's on them. That's a them problem. But it's not a Smurf problem right now.
No, his positioning, as you mentioned, absolutely insane. He's going for those headshots time and time again. And honestly, these Hadoukens might as well be sniper rifles right now because he is finding the mark on every single thing he throws out. Still, though, stuck in the corner, giving Daryl some time to mine, but instead it's going to be the P-tilt Shoryu, not going to quite close it out. Town and City Blast Zone's coming in handy, and right now, Hangman, the question is who is going to hang their head high and who's going to go home just a little bit short here in this Game 3.
It could still very much go either way, regardless of Smurf having the stock lead right now. One thing I'm noticing now that's pivotal to how well Smurf Poster is controlling space, reliance on the platforms, reliance on when the platforms leave. You have a small window of opportunity for when those platforms are there and not to take advantage of, but there it did not help Smurf at all.
I love this from D-Dog. He's always been very creative with his block formations, building not just a wall with a ceiling, but a little hole to force you to not get in a cage with him, be trapped there. He has the diamond online, but trying to conserve it until either the percents get higher, he can get a little bit more mileage, his resources are low, and so instead just saving it for that inevitable next stock he knew was coming. Gonna try to play 2 stocks to 1, but with a diamond online, might as well be an even game.
Yeah, no, honestly, a smart call from D-Dog. The fact that he's able to hold on to it up to this point gives him a very strong opportunity to level the curve when it comes to those stocks. And even then, still plenty of time on the clock. He has complete stage control. He can control how far Smurf has to chase him when it comes to that damage. But things are getting harrowing as we fight our way onto the final platform over there to the left. And its reversal puts D-Dog in position to maybe turn the damage around, but let's just get on out of dodge while we can.
And the weak down tilt, heavy down tilt mix-up, just rack on some damage. He's been so aggressive with his aerials. You see Ryu's often try and play grounded, but not Smurf Poster. He is going out there swinging, trying to keep himself away from this blue blender. The anvil not going to do it just yet. Finally, those Town and City Blast Zones are actually aiding him on his own counter pick, but instead it's going to be the F smash. This is what I was talking about before, man. This character is inevitable.
Yeah, but it's still a bad situation to be in. 95% at this point. Now it's rough. We're going to have to see a really solid combo from D-Dog just to level the playing field on the damage, but even then, you put it out and all of a sudden...
Yeah, I was going to say, if he was closer to ledge, that was actually kill percent.
If that was up smash, he would have won that right then and there, but instead, it's Smurf Poster who's going to be taking it 2-1 over Quandale Dinglelingleton. How's that for the first upset of the block?
Hey, man, first match,
You came
first
here
game.
for a show?
Yes, sir.
They gave us a show.
Yes, sir. First match, first Game 3, first upset.
And look at the calmness.
I am feeling good right now, as is Smurf Poster.
He's
as you
chilling.
mentioned, dude,
He's disconnecting his Pro Controller. He's processing the W. And he's moving along to the next one.
What's crazy is that was a tense set. And it's hot outside here in New York City. That man's not even breaking a sweat. That he is cold as a cucumber, making top 32 winner's side, might I add, and doing so over not just one of the best players here in New York, not just one of the best players in Tri-State, but someone who has been ranked top 100 in the world the last couple seasons. That is a win if you ever wanted one. And in a region this competitive, hey, you take every one you can get, but this one looks prettier than most.
Hey, New York built a little different. That's how it goes. Whether it's Staten Island or Long Island, we're looking good. And, you know, it's not to say, like, Smurf casually won this. Like, gave him a run for his money and played up the matchup very well. Where there may have been character unfamiliarity, solid reactions, and just strong neutral got him across to being able to play around the way that Smurf was looking very comfortable in this matchup and just had solid Steve play.
And the habit that Smurf either got away with or got called out on were those American air dodges, right? The jump off ledge, air dodge down and across. Every time he did it, D-Dog either didn't punish him and he found a reversal after it and took a stock for it, or he got